Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chess Diagnostic. So I'm going to be simply trying to play 1400 to 1800 players today, and I'm just going to see basically what makes sense to them that doesn't make sense to me, and we'll go from there. Just kind of look through a thought process. Let's see if there's anybody in the lobby. Is this a normal game? All right, this looks like around, is this a 5-minute? Okay. If anybody's here, leave a comment. Hopefully my audio is good. I keep changing mics, so changing the setup a little bit. Okay, so we started with, looks like, all right, we got a d4 opening, c4. I developed the knight. Now he could play something like e4. He's just pinning my knight. I could play. So the ideas here for me would be something like d5 or just bishop out, or I could play b6, getting the bishop out that way. I think I'll just play d5 to prevent e4. All right, so c5. Now, okay. Now I could play something like c6, or I could play b6 to try to attack it. He goes there, and then I could attack it again. And it could create some problems for his pawn structure because he's not really well developed. So I think I'll just do that right away. Because he can't go a3 because I'll just take the pawn. And so he's kind of, and if he takes here, I take with check. So he kind of made his pawn structure pretty loose. He really had to develop a little more before he did that, namely moving the knight so that the queen protects the rook, so that he can basically play a3, and then I take, and then he takes back. Yeah, so let's see here. All right, well, that doesn't really work because he doesn't have this pawn moved, and now I can just interpose with my bishop, threatening the queen. That's interesting. All right, so there's multiple moves here at this point. He's making a lot of mistakes. Now I can't take the pawn yet. It looks like he can take here. I'm just trying to make sure. I'm trying to make sure that, yeah. So if he takes and then he can go here, although there's probably some queen trap. I could just play bishop here and protect the rook. If he takes, then there's check, wins the queen. If he takes here, I can take with the rook. All right, another move is knight 2. I really like this move, knight 2 c6. Basically follows the idea of developing actively, and I'm threatening to take here as well as here. And even if he goes like there, then I basically take, and I'm threatening a fork of his queen and king. So that looks very dangerous. So I think I'm going to do that. Let me just do a blunder check. Yeah, he takes. Even if he takes on a5, I'll take on. Yeah, I'll take on c5. That'll be fine. Yeah, this is going to be really bad for him. Really bad. Now I just win everything. Okay. All right, now the interesting thing about this position too is you can see that he started off really strong. He moved 2 pawns to get his bishop out, but then he just started making queenside threats with only his pawns, and I was able to threaten the pieces that he was moving, namely his queen. and then develop my pieces while attacking. Now that's really the best thing to do. And I know it sounds simple, but obviously it's harder even at this level. It looks like he's provisional. So, all right, now I can take here. All right, I have basically two choices. I can take the bishop here, which I do like that. Yeah, because let's see here. All right, if I take there, then he can go a4. But I could go bishop to c4. That looks pretty good. All right. I think I'll just go here. If he does something like f3 to cover this e4 square, that's just really bad. As well, another pawn move wasted. All right, now I'll castle and just continue development. Hit his queen with a tempo. I'm going to get that tempo anyway. He has to be careful where he puts his queen. All right, so I'm looking at, I can move my queen here. I can move my queen here. Or I can move my queen here. Now, I like going queen to g4. That looks very dangerous because he's underdeveloped. So basically, I want to try to start an attack on the king side. Now he has some development problems. I mean, if he moves his queen back or his king. All right, the threat is obviously on f2, but also takes here. And then his queen's undefended. So there's a tactical threat, double attack. All right, so it's kind of an interesting thing to think about once you get out of like 800 to 1200, where they're just like they really don't know what's going on. But 1400 to 1800, I would say the players really do understand how the pieces move. They understand, what they're going for, but maybe their tactics or maybe their tactics or their understanding of the position is just inaccurate. So you can really see that here. He knows he's trying to make attacks, but just tactically inaccurate. All right. So just win a pawn. And I've won tons of pawns. I haven't won a piece, but it's enough pawns to be completely winning at this point. He still can't even develop that knight yet because I'm hitting on e3. All right, so if we go back from the beginning of this game, you can see I didn't do anything special. It's just attacking. If your opponent makes a weakness, multiple pawn moves, then you really should look for how to attack it. Now, you could divide the board up this way, especially here. So this is where you'd look. So if your opponent has any pieces on here, on this fifth rank, then basically you really want to look at ways, either pawns or pieces, to attack them or chase them away. That should be kind of a thing that sets off in your mind. All right, let's go to the current position. All right, so Now I can start pushing these pawns, but not quite yet. It's going to be interesting. I'm just going to go full bore on pushing pawns on the queen side. Because he's undeveloped. I have all these pawns and the rooks to defend them. He really has no active plan, just trying to hang on. I mean, these pawns are going to be just brutal, just running down the board. Yeah, now I have knight here, knight here, knight here. He's just defending. Yeah, I'm not sure what he could have done. He really should have tried to cover that c4 square, but there's just nothing to be done. He's probably going to have to sacrifice the knight for the pawn, but I'll still have too many pawns, and then I'll be a piece up. All right, if anybody has any questions about what I'm talking about here, just leave a comment. If you're between 1400 and 1800 rating, whether on Lead Chess or FIDE or USCF, whatever, just challenge me on here, or you can do it in the chat somehow. All right, this is just going to be brutal. Yeah. I mean, you can even take your time with these kind of things when you have so many pawns. That's why it's dangerous to give away so many pawns in these kind of positions. But I would say that's actually a really common mistake. You see, all right. So what can I do here? I can just push the pawn. Yeah, what I was saying, the really common mistake that I see with players 14 to 1800 is they give away pawns very, very easily. And you will not see that at 2000 or higher level. They'll really hang on to their pawns as much as they can. And it's not necessarily a tactical thing. It's just they kind of misevaluate the fact that a pawn here, a pawn there, soon it's up to 3 pawns or 4 pawns. And, basically you just gave away a piece for nothing. Or I'm trying to be the most accurate. I probably, I couldn't have brought the knight there because then he would have taken with the rook. I need to hit that knight somehow. I'm just threatening a2 now. All right, let's go back a little bit. All right, so how did he end up losing so many pawns? Well, really, it all stems from the fact that he played c5. I know it sounds crazy, but basically that's what happened. All right, where are we? a3. He's taking his time. Yeah, so the c5 mistake. Now, a player like that, they might chalk it up to the fact that they made an opening mistake, but really it's just a misunderstanding of positional play. And you could say it's tactics, saying, "Oh, I miscalculated it," but as you can see in these kind of positions, playing real chess, move by move, you're not actually calculating that much until you get to these kind of middle game and end game positions where you do have to look through all the moves. All right, so he did play the correct way. Now, what I can do is play. All right, so here's the calculation. Pawn, rook takes. I can just take here, and now I could basically check with the queen. His king would be pinned. His rook would take. I'd take here, and then I'd be a rook up, and it would be a very easy win. So that's basically what I'm going to go for. Now, that might not be the most tactically accurate way to win here, but you'll see that, especially in like a time trouble situation, which you have to train for, because in a lot of long games, you're going to get the time trouble situations, especially a blitz game. Okay, let's see here. So I'm going to check. All right, I'm just calculating this. Check. He takes. I queen. He takes. I queen. All right, so I'm going to end up with a rook and a knight, if my calculations are correct. Now, I didn't want to just queen right away, because then he can just sack, although that might have been the strongest. But I like to really clear everything out for the opponent, so he's not going to have any options at all. Yeah, so this is why I chose this instead of the other way, where maybe he could keep his rook. I really just want to take everything at this point. And these are much easier to play in time trouble. You just snap up all his pawns. He really should resign, but okay. All right. Yeah, that's another thing you'll see with 14 to 1800s is their tenacity to never resign, which you can't really fault them, I guess. I just got to be careful not to stalemate this guy. I could still play there. He can go up. I'm going to chase him out. Get my rook in. All right, there's the mate. Let's see is there anybody that wants to play. I'm going to play one more game, maybe a little lower if I can find one. Let me see. Create a game. Oops. All right, lobby. How does that guy go? Oh, crap. Where did that? Here, I'll try to do this one. All right, so this is a little higher, but we'll see what maybe that other guy was a little higher. But anyway, so 1890, which actually is probably about 1700 to 1800 FIDE. But we'll see here. All right, is he gone? Maybe this isn't going to work. All right. Let's go create a game. Let's see who's here. All right, I'll actually make this one a little longer, so I could really explain. Actually, is this rapid? That must be my rapid rating, because normally I think my blitz rating is higher. All right, that's good though. It'll give me some time to explain. Okay, so we get this kind of, what is this, hedgehog, or I don't even know what this is called. It's like the Dutch defense formation. I don't know the names of any of these things. And I definitely normally don't play this kind of opening. All right, so let me try to figure this out. Yeah, so, all right. So I just kind of made some moves initially. The good thing is I have time here, so I can explain. All right, so I developed a knight. I played d5. Now, the problem for me in this situation is that e5 square, but the problem for him is his e4 square. So anytime you kind of have these really strong squares with your pawns supporting your pieces, you're really going to be kind of creating weaknesses for yourself. And I'm trying not to do that. Now, in these kind of positions, I really try not to castle too soon, because it's unclear what the opponent's doing. I mean, there's ideas of even like here, or even just going here, or sorry, the bishop would go there. My arrows are off. And then he could bring the knight here, move the queen, and then castle queenside. So you have to be careful with those kind of ideas. But I'm going to be aggressive and play c5. Okay. Now, in these kind of positions, normally if an opponent plays something like knight to e5, you don't want to trade on this square. And normally I'll play the knight back because in these kind of positions with the bishop kind of controlling this diagonal, it's good to have a knight that can jump in here, or even reroute itself somewhere else on the king side. All right, so he's probably not going to castle king side, but I'll just take my time. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, you want to maintain some flexibility in these kind of positions just to see what your opponent's going to do. Because if they're going to be hyper aggressive, then you kind of want to let them make all those mistakes where they create weaknesses, but you don't want to commit yourself too early. All right, what do I want to do? All right, I'm going to play bishop here, and then probably next move will be knight here. Now he could go for the e4 push. That's fine. Yeah, okay, there we go. So this is really kind of an ideal setup in this position that I feel. Of course, I'm talking about, my understanding, which is around 2200 level. But especially playing at this level, I would say that you want to play what you understand. If you have some complicated theory, that's really not the best. That's not how you should be playing. It's good to learn theory, though, if you want to learn a line. But play it from your own understanding. Okay, let's see here. All right, so he could play e4. All right. Yeah, there's really no devastating blow in these kind of positions. You just have to keep a solid position and not create too many weaknesses. He's probably going to go for G4, I would guess. So I don't necessarily want to play knight to F5. Yeah, I guess I do. That's probably because the only books I've read is like 500 master games. It's funny you said that. Yeah. So my understanding is good, but my lines are quite old. That's funny. Okay. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do here. All right, so my idea with this is I could play queen here and then queen here. I basically want to play a knight to e4, but I can't yet. And he hasn't really moved that knight. Now, he could be really aggressive and play g4, but that could create a lot of weaknesses for him. So that's definitely kind of a double-edged position. All right. Now I actually can play knight to e4. So he kind of gave me that move one move early. All right, that's kind of forced. All right, now a threat that I do have is takes, and if he takes with the f pawn or the c pawn, then I can infiltrate on the queen side. And actually, that pawn is good there because it prevents rook to f3. So I'm not sure if there was a better move for him than taking. He could have played, kept the tension and played knight from d to f3, and try to attack on the king side by going knight to g5. So it's really just the accumulation of these little mistakes by your opponent, of course. But I've probably made some mistakes here as well. Yeah, I don't know about that move. All right, so there could be a possible tactic. If I go knight here, he plays something like there. I could take. I could hit him here. He takes. I take. He takes, and I take back. So that could be a potential tactic. Yeah, I can't move there yet. Let's see. I could go knight to f5 because I need the bishop needs to stay guarding here, because if I go here, then he could just take. So that doesn't quite work. What about takes here? He takes. I take. He brings the knight in. What do I want to do? I think I'm going to go here. That looks like just the right amount of complex that my opponent might fall for. Now, you shouldn't really do that, but I do think objectively it might be the best. All right, so it's not too bad. Okay. Pawn to f3. No, I couldn't take en passant. No. Well, I don't want to create weaknesses. I don't want to create weaknesses for black because I am black. So, all right. Let's see here. So I could take. He could take. I take with the knight. He takes back. It's complicated. All right, I do see something now. Okay, there we go. All right, I wanted to play knight takes on d4, but it doesn't work because he can hit my queen. All right. I think I'm going to play there. Now knight takes. That still doesn't work. Yeah, that wouldn't work because then the queen comes in to interpose. But I do want to get the rook in. So if he moves his rook, I could actually take and then take. All right, I got to be careful here. right. All right. Do I want to take? I think I do want to take. Hello, Antonio and Fabiano Jesus. That's a cool name. Yeah, if anybody has any commentary on these positions, if you're higher rated or something, or you just have some insight, that's perfectly cool to add here. That'll be in the chat, so people will see that if they watch this video. All right, so, to be honest, this position is a little frustrating. I just want to maintain activity. Now he can take. If he lets me get my rooks in, though, that could be a pretty dire straight situation for him. But I just have to be careful, too, because I don't want to become tactically inaccurate. Okay, well, that definitely wasn't the best move. Definitely was not the best move. All right. All right, so there's two ideas I could take with the bishop, hitting the queen, and then play a rook and control the file, but I don't necessarily want to do that because it looks like if I played bishop, then he could play queen here, and then I can't move the rook because he's threatening there, so that'd be kind of annoying. So I don't want to do that. I'll just maintain this bishop now, a bishop for a knight. And that's a pretty strong position. Yeah, he's got to be careful here. I've kind of tied him up. Now I have ideas like after going here, I could bring the queen in, double up. If I end up owning this file, then it's pretty much game over. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to check there. If he moves here, then I have to check. If he moves there, then it's pinned. Yeah. This is basically game over. This shouldn't have ended this quickly, to be honest. He's just falling apart. But again, covering lower ratings, that's what would happen. All right, so what he should have done, instead of taking there, he probably should have just, let's do the analysis board. Sorry if this was too small. I should have made this bigger. All right, it's bigger now. All right, so he should have taken with the pawn. I take here. He could take here. I could take back with the pawn. It's probably equal. You notice that my bishop is still blocked, so actually that's a good thing for him. Blocked by the pawn. I can bring this rook in, but it can't really do much, and this f-pawn is still there, blocking it. So he might even have an advantage. Let's see what the computer says. Yeah, so white actually has an advantage from that position. Okay, so I did it. Yeah, I was pretty certain I had an advantage here. Where did I go wrong? Computer's saying I could have taken. check. See, I thought he had this. Then what? What did I miss? Ah, okay. Yeah, that's. See, this is something that computers see, but yeah. Okay. All right. So this was the whole point. Was this f6, and then he plays here, and then I can go there. Yeah, I didn't calculate that far. Maybe in a longer game, I would have seen that. Yeah, he definitely didn't want to take, and then I get my pawn back with interest. Now look at this bishop. I mean, yeah, okay, so it's actually worse than I thought. -5. Wow. Now there was another idea of check here too, but that doesn't necessarily work. Not. I mean, it works, but let's see. Yeah, but the computer's not recommending it. Okay, so take. Yeah, so queen check. He doesn't want to go here because it's pinned. Then I go here. So if he went here, I was actually I was going to point out here because then if he takes, then I get this check, and if he goes back, then I can go queen here and win this bishop. So there's too many lines here. Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to point out. That he went here, and yeah, and then he's gonna have to give up a rook, and it says a mate in 12. You don't even need to calculate that. Just check and then take, and get a whole rook. Why not? All right, so let's go from the beginning and actually see where. So what did this 1800 player not understand that I understood? So the thing is, when you play chess, you're going to be confused. Now I was confused in the middle game, but you just have to go on your intuition at a certain point. But that intuition is based on the calculations that you have. So let's see how that worked. All right, so I do have some understanding of this position. As you could see, I had some. You need to, instead of trading here, you don't want to do that. Well, you'd have to trade with the bishop, but you definitely don't want to go here. Give him. This is really bad. It gives him the open F file. Your knight has nowhere to go. So look at these. If I did that, so these minor, I've made this mistake before. That's why I know. So these minor pieces are really bad. The only way to try to free yourself is go here and then trade a bishop. But in the meantime, he's going to bring his queen here. He's going to play here, and he just is a very easy plan. So that's another point I want to make, is that you don't want to give your opponent an easy plan to attack you. You want to make it as hard as possible. And this knight move does that. As you can see, he's trying to find a way in. Now, probably bringing the rook up and bringing it here might have been a better plan. Let's see what the computer suggests. All right, so that's like the fourth plan. So actually, queen to f3. Where did that go? I thought I saw it. Queen to f3 was above rook to f3, but I have seen rook to f3 a lot. Queen to f3. Yeah, so it's equal at this point. Yeah, I talked about that earlier. He takes with the pawn. Yeah, that's just not good. Okay, so that's actually a blunder. I should have taken right away. Is that what it's saying? If I took right away, yeah, I take. All right, so here I misevaluated this position. It looks like he can go there. Let's say I go here. He takes. This seems actually really good for black, but I'm not sure. I didn't feel that way necessarily. Maybe it's just because I'm chasing all his pieces back. I could still play here with tempo now. That makes sense. All right, so I missed that. Let's see. So b5 is actually rated on the computer. Queen to b4. I guess that's in line with piece activity. Rook to c3. That's an interesting idea. Oh, that's cool, because then you could actually take, if you play rook to c3, then you're threatening knight takes d4. And if his queen moves, then you still have knight takes on on e3. Okay. Let's keep this moving. Takes. All right, yeah. So basically, it was over at this point. Um, yeah. All right. So hopefully that was somewhat clear. This was a little longer than I was expecting. If anybody has any questions, then just leave them in the comments. If you like these series or if they're boring or too long, let me know. I think I'm gonna try to go a little higher in rating because I really do like just playing games and talking. It seems like people learn a lot from that versus trying to make like really, really accurate lessons in a way. People don't watch those as much for some reason. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the future. Bye bye.